One. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Your boy, the Dread Man, is back, and here we are with the NFL Fourth and Goal podcast. Wise, how you tonight? Doing good?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling great. It's been definitely an interesting week, especially as a San Francisco fan. Last couple of weeks,
Oh yeah.
The team is looking a lot different than were a few weeks ago. But
I don't know, man. Is this the era? Is this the Brock Purdy era? Is the Brock Purdy era among us?
It might be at least. I mean, for this season, it's got the shakings of a little bit like. Maybe like 2017 Eagles when Nick Foles took on late in the season. Remember when Nick Foles filled in for Carson Wentz when Wentz blew out basically his AL,
Yeah.
came in there and kind of cleaned up and led the Eagles to a Super Bowl. It's starting to feel like that.
Mm.
He is certainly.
The season ended today. Whew. Of course. All right, let's talk about the NFC first.
Yeah. The NFC is pretty much set.
Yeah, more or less. Let's see. The first seed obviously is Philadelphia Eagles. The second seed, well, let me pull it up. Let's see, who's the second seed if the season ended today? Ooh, the second seed would be Dallas. Wow, 10-3.
No, Dallas is the fifth.
Oh, the Dallas is the fifth. Yeah.
Dallas is the fifth right now because they're at the division. They're at the division later.
Yeah. My fault. Hold on. Yeah.
Minnesota's two.
Yeah, Minnesota's the second. San Fran's the third. Tampa Bay's the fourth, only because the rest of the NFC South is trash. And the three wild cards, this is nuts. If the season ended today, every team in the NFC East would make it. Dallas, Washington, and New York.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's the first time. I mean, since they expanded the playoffs to additional team. But yeah, that'd be very, very impressive. You wouldn't expect that out of the NFC East. Not the beginning of the season. Washington and the Giants certainly had a hell of an improvement this season.
Absolutely, the NFC East is very, very competitive. And in the hunt, we got Seattle. Much to everybody's surprise, Detroit. Green Bay still in the hunt. And then you got Carolina and Atlanta, who's still in the hunt.
I mean, Green Bay's a wrap for the most part.
Yeah.
I really feel like it's Seattle and Detroit, and then Carolina, Atlanta only by default because the NFC South is so trash.
Yeah.
You can't rule them out, but I really think it's the NFC South teams and then Seattle and Detroit. Arizona's done. Green Bay is done.
Yeah.
I think it's really going to be between probably most likely it's Seattle and Detroit. And then whoever obviously the only NFC South team that's going to make it is the winner of that division.
Yeah. But we know exactly how far they're going in the playoffs.
God, it's just ridiculous though. I mean, it's possible. Like, I mean, you might have like an 8 and 9 team. You might get an 8 and 9 team here.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. Below 500. I don't think it's been done since
2007.
Seattle that one year.
Yeah, 2007. No. Yeah, it was like 2000 when the
This was the Seahawks, right?
It was the Seahawks. The Seahawks was like 7-9.
They upset the Saints in the first round. Marshawn Lynch had that epic run.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the last time we saw that was probably about 12 or 13 years ago. But now, if the AFC play, oh my lord, the AFC, it's like you can compare the AFC to like the Royal Rumble. Let's see, you got Buffalo at number 1. The only reason why is because they hold the tiebreaker over Kansas City. Kansas City at number 2, Baltimore at number 3, Tennessee at number 4, and then the wild cards are Cincy, Miami, and New England. And in the hunt are the Chargers, the Jets, the Steelers, and the Jaguars. Yeah. I think the thing is the top 2 seeds to me are locked. They're interchangeable. And it's going to depend on who Buffalo and Kansas City are interchangeable. Baltimore, it's going to be a battle between Cincy and Baltimore for the AFC title, the AFC North title crown. And I think Tennessee is pretty much a lock. Nope, because everybody else in the AFC South is trash. So Tennessee's going to win it by default. That wild card is going to be very, very interesting, though. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I know we were talking about the NFCs. Obviously, looking at right now, there's three AFC East teams in the picture right now.
Mm-hmm.
And New York's just on the outside looking in. They would be the fourth team, but obviously, with the way it's set up, it would be either New England or the Jets.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Both of them can't get in. Here, the thing is, though, even though New England's in pole position right now,
Mm-hmm.
they're not trending great. They haven't been playing great. I don't think they're a good team. I like the Chargers and the Jets over the Patriots, if
Mhm.
anything, right now. Even though the Patriots have that tiebreaker over the two,
Right.
I think in the next couple of weeks, one of if not both of those teams is going to leapfrog the Patriots,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll see what happens from there. Miami is also free falling a little bit. Two is starting to play a little bit shake right now since that San Francisco game.
Mm-hmm.
They also might fall back a little bit as well. So we'll see if I do kind of like the Chargers to get back into position here and nab one of those last two spots there. But yeah, like you said, 1 and 2, Buffalo and Kansas City, that could flip back and forth. The same thing with the 3-5 with the Ravens and the Bengals.
Yeah.
Tennessee, I think, is pretty much set.
Yeah.
I think they pretty much have the 4th seed locked up. I don't think the Jags can catch them.
No.
It'll be interesting. But I unless barring there's an epic collapse by Tennessee,
Yeah.
I think they pretty much they win the AFC South.
Yeah. But now looking back on the AFC North, I forgot Lamar Jackson is going to be out for at least another 2 weeks. So that could, but then again, they just beat the Steelers at home. So I mean, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, Lamar Jackson being out could be detrimental, but we'll see. But all right, anyway, what was the game of the week for you last week?
Oh man, that's interesting to tell. Like now, there obviously the game I most enjoyed last week myself would definitely be the San Francisco throttling the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yes.
And Purdy putting on an epic performance.
Mm-hmm.
Just the overall performance and caliber that they displayed that week against them.
Right.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to look at some of the other games that they were. I mean, Kansas City, Denver was surprisingly closer than I thought it would be.
As is the Texans and Cowboys. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right out the gate. That was the choke of the week for me.
The Texans?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Texans are the worst team in the league.
I don't care. It doesn't, dude. I mean, the thing is, of course, they ain't got nothing to lose. They aren't really playing for it besides the pride of the state of Texas. But you have the Cowboys dead to rights, and you could put a dent in their playoff hopes even more. And then you choke at the end? No.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad showing from Dallas for sure. A lot of shenanigans going on in that game. Dak was not playing his best that we've seen so far this season. But yeah, like I said, it was surprising to see that Dallas was favored by like 17 in that game.
Yeah.
And they nearly lost that game, but only beat them by 4.
Yeah.
It's skipping ahead. I mean, obviously, I think if we're talking about chokes, I would say the Raiders. The Raiders were the worst choke job Thursday night, playing Baker Mayfield, who hadn't even practiced with the team really. Got picked up on waiver a few days prior, leads the team 98 yards. That's just I don't know. It's inexcusable for that Las Vegas team.
Yeah.
I mean that Rams offense is just pretty much anemic without Cooper Kupp, and they still let Baker Mayfield drive 98 yards on him to get a go-ahead touchdown. That for me, Raiders choke of the week, game of the week. I mean, for me, honestly, that San Francisco game, just how well they played.
Yeah. As far as most competitive, for me, it had to be Chiefs Broncos, especially because I didn't expect that out of the Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos coming into that game, barely averaging a little over a touchdown. I felt like. Realistically, the only team that keeps their games close and winning is that defense.
Yeah.
That defense is really stellar, but that offense is so trash. But I was surprised. I would never have guessed they could hang up 28 points.
Yeah. That's demoralizing. that has got to be demoralizing. You pretty much played the best game of the season and you still lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, granted, no one would expect them to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Even though it was at Denver, but still, like they had opportunities there. It was certainly there for them to kind of nab, but Mahomes is gonna Mahomes and go from there. But Russ at least had probably his best game so far since being in Denver. So maybe it's a sign of things to come for them. Maybe they can kind of turn it around.
Yeah. Now, I got two most improved teams. The first one is the Chargers, and the second one is the 49ers.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I was not going to be a homer as much and be as biased as I was going to say with saying San Francisco.
Yeah, but you got to give it to them this time.
I'll say my second team would be Jacksonville, just with basically a team that they almost always lose to the Titans, and I was not expecting them to beat the Titans on the road, but they went ahead and did that. Lawrence played an amazing game. And again, Jags are still somewhat alive for that division, but I don't think they're gonna. I think it's too little, too late. But this was more in the lines of the team that I expected. After the first few weeks, when Jacksonville was kind of looking like a sleeper, and then they just kind of pretty much fell off the face of the earth with their losses after the first couple of games. I think right after they beat the Chargers, they kind of fell flat on their face for several weeks after that. I think they bounced back. They looked more like that team they did the first few weeks in the season. I would say that'd be my most improved, my second most improved team. But you are correct, San Francisco, with Brock Purdy at the helm. Again, this is this is our third string. It's a third string quarterback.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's third string, but he did. Going into the training camp before it was set that Garoppolo was going to come back, he was essentially the backup to Trey Lance, because Garoppolo wasn't in training camp at all, and it was almost like Garoppolo was basically not on the team.
But if you think about it, Brock Purdy might be more of a Shanahan guy than Trey Lance is. I mean, because if you think about it, Trey Lance is an athlete. Brock Purdy is a quarterback. He's gonna let the productivity. I feel like that Shanahan can get more out of Purdy than he can Trey Lance as far as being a quarterback.
It is a little telling that in the basically the few starts. Purdy's only had one start.
Yeah.
He came in the first game after Garoppolo got injured. But in the very limited playing time that Purdy has had, he's looked better. He's looked better, and I feel like Shanahan's managing him better than he did with Trey Lance in Trey Lance's games. And I don't know if that is just by design. If that's just because that's kind of the quarterback, like you said, quarterback he wants to coach and how he likes it versus the kind of the athlete with the bigger arm.
Yeah.
That can move around a lot better. But you're right. Yeah. I mean, Purdy. I mean, going into that Trey Lance draft, people thought that the Niners there was rumors that the Niners were going to draft Mac Jones, and there's a running joke going on in 49ers Twitter that the brass, the ownership told Shanahan, listen, you're going to take Trey Lance, but if you really want a Mac Jones type, just wait until the 7th round. There's going to be a guy named Brock Purdy probably sitting there for you. Yeah. He's pretty much like a Mac Jones light, but he's only going to cost you a 7th round pick. You don't have to worry about wasting the third overall pick for him.
Right.
And like I said, Purdy again. The limited time we've seen him, he's looked good. And again, granted, you can say what he did against the Dolphins. You know what I mean? Like how he played against the Dolphins was done, but doing that against a Bucs team where that Bucs defense is a solid. It's a good defense. It's a competitive defense, and he still torched them. So I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night and seeing how he can do on the road. The last 2 games were at home. This is going to be the first game on the road for him, especially in Seattle with that 12th man. It's kind of hard to play there at times. We'll see how he does.
Yeah. Well, let's get right into it then. Our first game of Week 15, the Niners on the road against the Seahawks. Who you got?
Yeah, I have to go with San Francisco right now. Granted, these Thursday short week games are always a little bit crazy and wonky, so And again, Seattle, the Niners in the last like 10, 12 years, the Niners' record against Seattle is not great, especially in Seattle. Very, very hard for them to eke out wins. But with the way, again, Seattle's defense is pretty bad. Very, very bad. Now, I know that we just lost Deebo for a little bit, but honestly, I think they're obviously, even when Deebo went out, he was still finding Ayuk down the field.
Yeah.
Ayuk's going to start emerging more and more. I think this playbook got opened up a lot more. Purdy's not afraid to throw it down the field. Now, I know Purdy did get like an oblique injury in that game. He's questionable, but he's most likely going to start. I think this magic carpet rides will still continue. And I think he's going to, again, this is probably, again, if things keep playing out this way, this is like an incredible story.
Yeah.
This never happens for the last pick in the draft. I mean, Brady, the run that Brady went on is historic.
Yeah.
6th round pick, but this guy was the last pick in the draft. For him to do what he's doing right now is remarkable. I think, again, going back to the game, this game itself, Seattle's defense not great. They're without Kenneth Walker. I don't see a managed way that Geno's going to be able to lead this team in the passing game against this Niners team. That's going to be putting an immense amount of pressure on them with our front seven. And again, this playbook, this whole offense looks way different with Purdy at the helm. So it was one thing when we were a team that just managed to kick field goals, come up with 17 play drives, kick field goals at the end of them, not touchdowns. This team now looks like they can score touchdowns instead. I think it's going to be hard for Seattle to hang with us. I like the Niners. Give me San Francisco to win this game, 27-17.
I'll take that, but give me the Niners 24-21. And like I said, I mean, you're right. I mean, Seattle, I think Seattle can win this game, but time of possession is going to be key. And I feel like that the 49ers can, like, if it's one thing they can do is they can score quick. But also Seattle can score quick, but scoring quick can work against them. And they don't want to do that. So I think the best thing to do would be to slow the pace down against the 49ers, but I don't think they'll be able to do that. They're going to make the mistake of giving the Niners the ball back too quick, and I think that's going to be the key. So, yeah, 24-21 49ers. All right, next up, this one is going to be a very, very interesting. We got the Indianapolis Colts going on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I know the Vikings are 10-3, I know, but now they're starting to show chinks in their armor. This is a home game for the Vikings, so in theory, they should win, but this is the kind of game, this seems like one of those trap games that they would lose. I mean, the Colts, I mean, of course, they got Jonathan. It's going to be John Taylor versus Dalvin Cook. It's going to be a run the ball kind of a game down. It's going to be run the ball down the throat kind of game for both of them. And also, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but at this point, I do trust Kirk Cousins' arm more than Matt Ryan's arm. If Matt Ryan's starting, which I think he is. But going ahead and give me the Vikings in this game, 27-20 over the Colts. Who you got? Vikings, Colts.
Yeah, I like the Vikings in this game. You're right. That was a tough loss for them last week. But again, Detroit's kind of coming on now. Detroit's offense is pretty potent. Vikings defense can give up points, but I think if anything, they got a little bit of a breather with this Indianapolis team that they don't really have the offensive firepower to put up points. Taylor obviously is their best option, but Matt Ryan is not going to push the ball down the field and basically help lead this team with touchdowns. So even though again Indianapolis, going from dome to dome, that benefits them a little bit. It's not too much of a road game for them, but I think Minnesota, especially after coming off a tough loss to a divisional team with Detroit, I think they are going to be in the mood to bounce back. I think people continue to doubt this team, despite their winning, despite how good of a record they have. I think they were only like a 1-point favorite against Detroit last week, even though there was like a 5-win differential between the two, which is crazy. But yeah, I think Minnesota bounces back pretty stellar with a pretty resounding win. Give me Minnesota to win this game 24-13.
All right. Next up, AFC North Divisional matchup. You got the Baltimore Ravens going on the road against the Cleveland Browns. Now, yeah, the Ravens are on their third string quarterback here. And Deshaun Watson is actually looking pretty good. I mean, the thing is, they're alternating between Deshaun Watson and what's his name? Oh yeah, damn, I can't even think of his name right now. Who is their backup quarterback first?
Brissett.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett. Yeah, but yeah, this is this is AFC North football, so you know this is going to be like a slow, grindy kind of game. You know, defensive teams smacking each other in the mouth. Like I said, I just don't know how good the third string quarterback is going to be. Anthony Brown, but yeah, it's give me a low scoring game. Give me 17-14 Browns. Who you got? Browns, Ravens.
I like the Ravens in this game. I mean the Ravens. To me, honestly, I mean the Ravens beat the Steelers. Last week, the week before on the road. I think this Browns team isn't as good as the Steelers. For some reason, obviously Washington is still shaking off the rust.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. Like Chubb's also hasn't really been performing well in Watson's return. I don't know what the correlation is there with the quarterback change and affecting how Chubb's playing. But if Watson can't kind of get his can't get that rust back off completely to what he once was. Again, 2 years removed from playing football, definitely visibly takes a toll on you, as we see with Deshaun. But I just think even though the Ravens are falling back onto their third string quarterback, I still think it's possible, even with their running back with J.K. Dobbins back there, even though he's coming off an injury. He's not completely healthy. I think their run game, is good enough. And defensively, it's good enough. And again, it's going to be a low-scoring, competitive game, but I'm going to go with the run game and the coaching on Baltimore.
Right.
And I think that'll be enough of an edge. Give me Baltimore to win this game. I think 7-13.
All right. Next up, another AFC East divisional matchup. You got the Miami Dolphins 8-5 going on the road against the Buffalo Bills 10-3. Bills are favored by a touchdown in this game, and you know what? I actually take that bet based off of what you said, based off the strength of what you said about Tua kind of declining and showing chinks in his armor. The Bills are always solid. This is a home game for them. The Dolphins' only hope is for them to step their running game up, because that's one of the answers to the Bills' passing attack. You gotta fight fire with fire. They pass it, you run it down their throats, especially if you want to milk that clock. And that run defense that Von Miller provided is not there anymore. So and the thing is, that was made apparent in the game against the Jets. That's why the Jets made it so close. But other than that, give me the Bills 28-23 over the Dolphins. Who you got? Bills, Dolphins.
I like the Bills. I think this is again. I mean, the Dolphins took one on them earlier in the season in Miami. I think it's only right. I think Buffalo will want to get their revenge in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And again, you have to realize this is colder weather going into this game. It's going to be in Buffalo. It's going to be pretty cold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing about it is this Dolphins team is definitely a high-powered offense, but mainly resolves in their receiving corps, and with Tyreek and Waddle. They're, even though they got decent running backs like Wilson Jr. and Mostert, they're not utilizing them as much. Like I feel like they're barely getting carries or attempts these last few weeks that they played. And I think and again, when you're going into December, this colder weather season, you kind of tend to rely on the running game a lot more. You don't want to have running backs that can pound the ball. not necessarily saying Buffalo can do that to Miami, but with the warm team traveling over to the cold weather,
Mm-hmm.
it's way different. I'm sure how it is in Florida right now to being up in Buffalo where it's going to be 20 degrees. I'm going to give me the edge to Buffalo here. I think Buffalo wins this game. I'll say by at least one score touchdown. Buffalo wins this game 24-17.
All right. Next up, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers going on the road against the Carolina Panthers. Now, I actually will be in the building for that game. Luckily, like I said, I live in Virginia. It's going to be Carolina. It's only 2 hours away. It's a 2-hour drive. But yes, the Steelers disappointed me last week because they left all the points off the board with stupid mistakes. They've got Najee. They got a good running game. I think Mitch is going to be lining up at QB again. That was a piss poor performance for him last week. But the one thing that we do have to rely on is our defense. I mean, and that could carry the day for us. The Panthers, I just don't like Sam Darnold, this year. I mean, with the Panthers. With the Panthers. And they don't really have any reliable weapons. And their defense is one of the weakest in the league. But the thing is, somehow they got a 5-8 record. I mean, we got the same record, so they can't be all that bad, right? And they're favored by 2.5 points because they're at home. I think if the defense can carry the day for the Steelers and they step the running game up, they can be all right. But we'll see how that pans out against the Panthers. Give me the Steelers 23-21 over the Panthers. Who you got? Panthers, Steelers.
Yeah, I like the Steelers here. This is in Carolina. I think I'm going to give the edge. I'm going to give the edge to the Steelers just on defense. I think when the Panthers run up against a team with a good defense, just kind of going over the sequence, looking at Joel and what they've run into when it comes to teams that have good defenses, whether it was Ravens, whether it was the 49ers, they seem to struggle. They have some good wins on their records against good defenses, but I think like you said, defense will be the key. Darnold hasn't been playing. I mean, granted, Darnold doesn't have a good history, but I feel like he actually hasn't been playing bad these last couple of weeks. And again, they are still in the playoff hunt for that division title. This is more of a meaningful game for them. The Steelers not necessarily not in that same boat for the playoffs and postseason this year, but Carolina at home, they have a lot more to kind of lose and play for in this game. Again, could be a kitchen sink game for them, but I still think defensively Pittsburgh can kind of hold them in check. I like Pittsburgh here with the coaching and the defense. Give me Pittsburgh to win this game, 21-14.
All righty. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. Bears, the only problem with them is that they just don't really have. I mean, the thing is, Justin Fields is playing his ass off this year, but he just needs an O-line and then he'll be just fine. The Eagles, they're a juggernaut this year. What more can you say? And the thing is, a lot of people say that you can't turn things around in 1 year. If you're going through a rebuild, whether it's a soft or a long haul rebuild, it's going to take time. The Eagles are proof that you can turn things around in just 1 year. They made the playoffs last year, and mind you, they were a first round exit, but still. I think that the Eagles can hold their own against the Bears in Soldier Field. Give me the Eagles in this game 24-17 over the Bears. Who you got? Bears, Eagles.
Yeah, I got the Eagles in this game. At some point, I mean, you can look at the Eagles and you can think that they're going to lose a game, like that they're going to lose, but I feel like picking against the Eagles is just rooting for a loss. It's not necessarily identifying and making a sound judgment about them losing. There's no reason they should lose this game to Chicago. Chicago, even though they're coming off a bye, doesn't seem to have a strong enough offense to put up points against any sense of a caliber of a defense. And Philadelphia, obviously, they have an extremely good mobile quarterback. They're going to be well prepped. Philadelphia's defense is going to be well prepped in defending a mobile quarterback when they get to see that on scout team with Jalen Hurts. So Justin Fields, I don't think is going to surprise them too much. Although Fields is I would say kind of a swifter, more like faster version of a Hurts. But I still, Eagles are going to be prepared. Eagles got a terrific secondary. I think that's going to definitely play a key in this with turnovers. Eagles win this.
NFC going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, and the thing is, this is a home game for the Saints. Now, mind you, on paper, the Falcons are a better team than the Saints are. The Saints, they've done just enough to pull off some, just enough going to be enough for the Saints are favored by 4 in this, actually. Man.
Falcons without America, they're going with Ridder.
Desmond Ridder. We'll see. The Saints in this one, 26-24.
I kind of like the Falcons in this game. Like on paper, I think the weapons the Saints have are better. Like right now, but rookie, Dalton and Kamara. It's just not. And again, but I think the Falcons with my Russell. I don't think the Saints. Again, this is one dome team going to another dome. I don't think this is going to be too much of an issue for the Falcons on the road. Divisional game. It's going to be close, but I'm going to give the edge actually to the Falcons here. Give me Falcons to win this game. I'll say to win this game 23-20.
Yeah, that's actually more reasonable. All right, next up. This next one is a very, very interesting one. You got the Detroit Lions going on the road against the New York Jets. Boy. This is a very
game right here.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh boy. Man. Now like I said, the Lions are 6-7, and they're good looking 6-7. The Jets are 7-6. These two, I see this game being a slugfest right here. Now Jared Goff, you can say what you want about him, is he can make things happen, especially with the weapons that he's got. The New York Jets, however, the Jets have a trouble holding on to leads. And the thing is, do you really want to do that against a team like the Lions, who can literally fight until the clock strikes 0? You don't want to do that. And that's the thing, is that the Jets are favored by 1 point, but I don't think I'll take that bet. Actually, yeah, give me the underdogs. Give me the Detroit Lions in this game. Give me the Lions 26-23 over the Jets.
The key matchup is in this put the clamps on Goff in that offense. It's going to be defense on New York side versus this offense from Detroit. Jared Goff is playing probably the best. He's definitely playing the best he's had, best in his career since that Super Bowl run he had with the Rams a few years back. Completely. Again, if you were to ask, a year ago, like if honestly, if the Rams didn't win the title with Stafford last year, you might look at broke down after 1 year. But Goff looks like he's vastly improved from last year. So you could argue Detroit got the better points, and they feel like there are teams that start popping up and teams that start rattling off wins in a row, and teams that start getting hot, and then there's teams that start falling off. The Jets are falling off a little bit. Detroit is coming on offensively. They put up 40, 34 the last 2 weeks. But this will be an extremely tough Jets defense that they're facing. Don't have your mind. I don't think they're going to put up. I was thinking to put up 30 plus on this Jets defense.
No.
To say that. So I think that he basically got a Roman Reigns spear last week in half. Goldberg and Roman Reigns spear all into one. When I saw that replay clip, I'm going to give. Basically, this is a pick'em. I'm looking at the odds right now. This is a pick'em right now. I got to give the defense at home, but it's not. It's Mike White. I'll say it's going to be
got the Dallas Cowboys is a must-win narrative about them. Like if they're a fluky 10-3 team, I think that I mean they're going to get a playoff spot, but they just need to break that curse of them being one and done in the playoffs, which I don't think they'll be able to do. But we'll see about that. Jags at home. The Jags at home are like when Popeye's eating his spinach. And the thing is, they got all they can handle from another AFC South team, which is the Texans, and the Texans are in tank mode. Now, the Dallas Cowboys got weapons 6 days to Sunday, and the Jaguars, they're playing. They actually do have something to play for in this game. Like, even though the Titans are 2 games ahead of them, three games ahead of them, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 games ahead of them. But yeah, the Cowboys are favored by 4 in this point in this game, but this would be the type of game that the Cowboys would lose. So you know what? I'm gonna go with the upset. Give me the Jaguars in this game.
You took my pick. I actually think that Jacksonville can upset the Cowboys too. If not upset, I think Jacksonville can certainly. I think they can cover the 4-point spread. I think they don't lose by more than a field goal to this Dallas team. Dallas, it's just the offense has been a little bit suspect, and then that defense. I mean, again, this is like supposed to be a top 5 defense, but I mean, they were giving up a lead to Houston the week prior. Granted they hung 54 on the Colts again prior to that, but I don't know, just something about this defense. There's certain teams that can kind of expose it. Trevor Lawrence can move pretty well. He's still coming to come on and start performing better. They had a pretty bad stretch of losses in the middle of the season. But I think what we saw last week is more along the lines of what we can expect from Trevor Lawrence in this game handily, just on paper alone. But with that tough, close game against the Texans last week, I can see them flubbing up and blowing it against the Jags, and then you have another week on Fox Sports about the Cowboys and whether or not they're legit.
Yeah.
Cowboys 17.
I believe it. Next up, you got Kansas City Chiefs going on the road against the Houston Texans, and the Texans played their heart out last week against the Cowboys, but I don't think they're going to be able to replicate. They're going to shake that rust off. I mean, like I said, the Chiefs, we all know what they can do. We all know what they bring to the table on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. They're an offensive juggernaut, but I don't think that the Texans can hang up 20-plus points on the Chiefs. 17 is probably the best they're going to be able to do, and the Chiefs are favored by 14 over them. But yeah, give me the Chiefs 27-14 over the Texans. Who you got? Chiefs, Texans.
I like the Chiefs in this game. I don't see the Houston play their hearts out and then they still lost.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna have an in them to come out the following week and get their mind right and play their hearts out again 2 weeks in a row. I know they're at home, but they get to win a game at home this season.
Right.
The Chiefs, stellar, solid team. This is going to be a 28-13.
All right. These are both basement teams. I don't think this is going to be a game. But then again, this could be the game of the week because both these teams really ain't got anything. I really don't know because I haven't seen enough from both backups to even really give a. But thing is, if you were to talk a defensive game, I trust the Cardinals D a lot more than the Broncos D at this point. Give me a low-scoring game. Give me the Cardinals over the Broncos. 20-13. Who you got? Cardinals, Broncos.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. This is going to be a low-scoring game. I think I like Denver's nucleus and that defense. Even if Russ isn't playing in this game, Cardinals without Kyler Murray, I'm just not sure what that team is without Murray back there and what they can do. I don't trust it, especially on the road against a tough defense. It's hard to play in Denver, but when you don't have your starting quarterback, you're not coached well. I just think it's going to be an all-around difficult day and game for Arizona. Give me Denver to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say they'll win this game 20-13.
Yeah, we'll see how meaningful it is, though. Yeah. All right. Next up, you got the New England Patriots going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders are 5-8. Wow. Yeah. I thought they were. I mean, I guess they are a basement team pretty much, especially with them being in the division they're in. Patriots 7-6. The Raiders are actually they're favored by 1 point. I guess it's because they're at home, but I wouldn't take that bet to be honest over the Patriots. I'm pretty sure. We don't know how Derek Carr is going to show up in this game. I mean, of course, if you got Devontae Adams and you got a somewhat decent running game, you got a shot. But I also see another slow, grinding game here. But it's not really often that Belichick gets out coached. But and the thing is, I also be the Patriots. Let's say 24-20, 24-20 over Raiders. Who you got?
This is tough to say. I It stinks because the Raiders. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure why the drop off from last year to this year for them. However, I like offensively. I like offensively what the Raiders have, but the thing is that obviously it's led and coached by Josh McDaniels, and Belichick knows everything there is to know about that. Um, that's the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause is that scheme edge.
Mm-hmm.
Just a matter of can the Patriots secondary keep the clamps on Adams, and kind of force it, force Jacobs to maybe take over, but Jacobs has had his big games so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give, you know, I'm gonna give the nod to New England. Yeah, I'm gonna give the nod. It's a pick'em game.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna favor the road team in this case, just because of the coaching, and the defense. The Raiders are just still a sloppy franchise, and they seem to kind of always mess up and choke these games. We saw them choke last week.
Yeah.
To Baker Mayfield. I don't see why they couldn't necessarily lose again to the Patriots. Give me New England to win this game. Say 23-20.
All right. Next up, you got the Titans are another team who have glaring weaknesses. The thing is they got a receiving core somewhat. I mean, they got Ryan Tannehill, but of course we know what their bread and butter is, and it's you live by Derrick Henry, you die by Derrick Henry. You shut them down, you got a shot. The Chargers, the thing is, as good as the Chargers are, they can't get rid of their choking habits either. They for some reason can't hold on to a fourth quarter lead to save their lives either. And do you really want to do that against a team like the Tennessee Titans? Now, the Chargers are favored by 2.5 points over them. I think this will be a dangerous bet to take. But seeing as how the Chargers are at home, I'm going to take that bet anyway. Give me the Chargers. I can't believe I'm about to say this. But yeah, give me the Chargers over the Titans. 26-21. Who you got? Chargers, Titans.
Yeah, I like the Chargers in this game. I think the Chargers are better. I think this is a different team now that Mike Williams is back.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen be back. It's just a different team. I like obviously I like quarterback wise. I like Herbert over Tannehill. Obviously Henry is their best best option for Tennessee. Traylon Burks being not probably most. I don't know if he's going to be playing this game due to concussion protocol. I don't think he's going to be playing. I think that's the only other bright spot offensively for Tennessee to make this a game. But even though it's at home, obviously the Chargers don't really have a home field. But I just think now with their pieces on offense starting to come back, I think Herbert is starting to improve, starting to play better than he had since early on in the season when he had that rib injury. Give me the Chargers. Chargers to have another big statement win. Chargers win this game 28-21.
All right. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are at home. This is a must-win for the Buccaneers. They got to win this, or else it's going to get spooky for them. Like I said, I think they're probably going to make the playoffs regardless, but still, this. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking the exact same thing that you are. But yeah.
The thing is, they can lose this and they can still be in the first place.
Yeah, I know. But see, the thing is, do you really want that? Do you really want to go into the postseason thinking that? I mean, and the Bengals looked. I mean, they had a fight last week, but we'll see how that carries on into this week. Um, the Bucks are kind of demoralized right now, and on these major sports outlets. If you're a quarterback, you got to have a short memory. You can't let it. You can't let the past. You can't dwell on the past. Um, but shoot, the Bengals are solid at 9-4. These are two teams that you don't really see going up against that often, and the Bucks are below 500. I think this is going to be a close game, but I think that in the end, the Bengals might end up picking the Bucks apart. 27-23. Who you got? Bengals, Bucks.
Yeah, I like the Bengals in this game. I'm not seeing any really fashion that the Bucks can kind of come back and win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Could they? Could that defense take Burrow to the woodshed? Maybe.
Maybe.
Due to the offensive line, you know, could I don't. Brady again. I think Brady himself might have a hard time with Cincy.
Right.
With Cincy's defense, just because of how bad that his offensive line, the injuries they've dealt with during the season, and his offensive pieces, his receivers. I mean, Godwin had actually didn't look too bad against the Niners, even though they only scored one touchdown against San Francisco, but Godwin didn't look that bad. He started looking a little bit better than he had been, but Evans has fallen off a bit. It's just this team is not what it was 2 years ago when they had that that Super Bowl run. This is just a different team, and everyone's a little bit older. Brady he's not throwing the ball deep now. He's not throwing the ball deep. All of it's just short screen passes. That's why this offense doesn't do anything. This offense doesn't put up 25, 30 points. They just don't. They're putting up 17. They're putting up 20. I don't think it's going to be enough against Cincy. Even though Cincy's on the road, I like Cincy to win this game. Give me Cincy to win 26. 26-19.
All right. Next up, potential game of the week here. We got an NFC East matchup. We got the New York Giants going on the road against the Washington Commanders. Oh boy. Man, this is a very, very hard one because both these teams are 7-5-1.
They tied last time they played.
Yeah, and they tied. Whew, boy, I really don't know. And the thing is, I actually like Daniel Jones better than I like Taylor Heineke. But thing is, the Commanders' defense is better than the Giants. But I feel like that I think it's neck and neck as far as the offense is concerned. I just feel like that the Giants have a slightly better quarterback and the running game's even, but I think that Washington has a better defense. Oh boy. This is gonna come down to mistakes. This is gonna come down to turnovers and penalties. But Washington's actually favored by 4 points in this game. Oh boy. Yeah, I know. I wouldn't take that bet. I think this is probably gonna come down to a field goal, to be honest. And the Giants looked, they didn't look that good last week. I mean, they got curb stomped. But do they lose 2 in a row? I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna go with the upset here. Even though it's not really much of an upset to me, give me the Giants over Washington. 28-27. Who you got? Giants, Commanders.
No, I like the Commanders in this game. I like the Commanders the week prior, and I thought they should have won that game. I'm not sure how. I think it was a terrific effort by the New York Giants to scrape out a tie. But I think the Commanders are the better team. I think again, I think the main key is going to be the running. Both teams have solid running backs, have solid running games. But Barkley, I think he's still not completely healthy due to a potential injury he had early on in the middle of the season. I didn't look as good. He looked great at the beginning of the season. He's kind of fallen back a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think the Giants can lean on him as much as they did early on when they were winning games. So I think that's going to be key. It's tough because it's kind of weird betting. When you're betting against the Giants and Daniel Jones is back there scrambling for first downs, it's kind of scary. But I'm going to go with the home team here. And again, I think Washington overall is the better team. Give me Washington to win this game. Say 19-16.
All right. Last game of the week, the Monday Night Football game. You got the LA Rams going up against the Green Bay Packers. This would have been a 5-star matchup. As a matter of fact, these two faced off last year, and it was a 5-star matchup. Can't really say the same this year. Teams are underperforming. Then you got Baker. I think Baker is starting in this game. And then you got old man Rodgers lined up on the other side of the ball. But then again, he's got some weapons. And the thing is, that's one reason why the Rams underperformed this year, because they don't have the weapons that they had when they won the Super Bowl. Oh boy. And this is an away game for them too? Yeah. Going ahead and give me the Packers in this game 28-20 over the Rams. Who you got? Rams, Packers.
I like the Packers in this game. At home, coming off a bye. The Rams, they have an extended kind of week as well, but I just think the Packers overall better team. We don't know what we're going to be getting at quarterback from Los Angeles. Baker had that game-winning drive week prior, but that was against the Raiders team. I don't know if that's a fluke or not. I'm going to go with the more trusted franchise, more trusted quarterback. Give me Packers to win this handily. I'm going to say Packers win this game 24-14.
All right. Well, boys and girls, that'll do it for our Week 15 predictions. Any final words before we sign out tonight?
No final word. I mean, I'll give you a final word. I think the final word is Purd. Purd is the word. Purd,
yes, sir.
We'll look. We'll see if he can pull off a victory tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
This is a test.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
The whole offseason is going to be, again, depending on how the season ends. Like if Purdy, continues to play well, and the Niners can go deep in the postseason with Purdy. It's going to be an interesting offseason.
Well, y'all won't be going up against the Packers this time because for some weird reason y'all got the Packers number in the postseason.
Wait, whose number?
I said, well, unluckily for y'all won't be going up against the Packers this year in the postseason because for some odd reason y'all have their number. But
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I'm not too worried. I think the Niners are pretty much they're solid in that third spot. I don't know. I don't think they can catch Minnesota.
Y'all have the Cowboys number and y'all have the Packers number in the postseason.
Yeah. As of late, you're right. We'll see what happens. I think they're gonna likely have to play the 6th seed, which I think is gonna be between Washington, New York. I think
Washington, New York, yeah,
right there.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about either of those teams the first round, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, and like I said, I'm gonna be heading on the road to Carolina to watch the Steelers play the Panthers in person. Hopefully, I get my money's worth in this entertaining game.
Yeah, safe travels, man.
Yes, thank you, man. I appreciate
going
it.
to that game, getting there, and leaving. Enjoy it, man.
Yes, most definitely. Well, all right, guys, that's it for the 4th and Goal podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Waz, as always, thank you for helping me host the show, buddy. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next week.
See you next week, man. Take it easy. Thank you.